and what's and whys and wherefores. Here you'll find your what-nots and therefores. So come on along, let's find out what's going on. Where's and when's and who's and what's it's. No matter what your taste, you can trust it's the place where you can find all your new Disney news. Where's and when's and who's and what's it's. No matter what you taste, you can trust it's the place where you can find all your new Disney news.
Welcome to the Sweep Spot Current Events Edition as of November 22nd, 2023. My name is Lynn, your host, and Ken's my co-host, and we host the #1 Disneyland podcast, hosted by two former Disneyland Custodial cast members.
#1.
How's it going, Ken?
Well, it is going. I'm so happy to be here so we can get caught up on what's been happening at the Disneyland Resort.
That's right. But before we move into that, we have a couple of things I wanted to talk about. You can get both of our books, signed copies, on our website, thesweepspot.com. That's right. We have two different books out, and you can get both of them signed by both of us on our website. You can also get the books at Amazon. You get them on Kindle. You can get the audiobooks at Audible and wherever audiobooks are found, both of them. And also, if you'd like to help support the show and get some great perks, you can, for $5 or more per month, you can join our Patreon, and you get one bonus episode delivered to you per month that we record specifically for the Patreons. And then also once a month, you get to join us in our current events as we record them live. And we usually do that somewhere near the beginning of the month. And it's a lot of fun. People get to chat with one another as we're recording, and we sometimes incorporate your chat into the recording. So to do that, you can go to Patreon and search The Sweep Spot, or go to thesweepspot.com and look for the Patreon link there. And we also, speaking of that, we have a new Patreon I wanted to mention. He actually is a guest that we had on our episode a few weeks ago. That's Jeremiah LeCompte.
All right. Thank you, Jeremiah.
Thank you, Jeremiah. I really appreciate it. And maybe he will be joining us on our next Current Events Live.
Yeah, welcome aboard.
And I just sent that out to everyone today. I mean, when you listen to this, it was probably a couple of days ago. But yes. All right, Ken.
I wanted to welcome all our new listeners who are tuning in because of a story that we're in that went viral, a bit sensationalized, and some of the coverage was a little misleading. Right. But welcome aboard if you're new, and we're happy to have you.
Yes, as we said, this is our current events edition, and every other week we do a main topic where we interview. We have a variety of things. It's mostly history. We interview former cast members. We talk about attractions. We've had Imagineers on, just a variety of different guests, all surrounding Disneyland parks.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's get right into it. Looking to book a vacation to Disneyland Resort, Walt Disney World Resort, Disney Cruise Line, Disney Alani, Disneyland Paris, Adventures by Disney, Universal Studios Hollywood, Universal Studios Orlando, then I can do that for you. If you contact me, and we can talk about all the different options and dates, and we can kind of even make recommendations on which days might be the best for you to go. And also, as a complimentary, when you book with us, we will book your dining for you if you'd like, special events. And we also, when we book a vacation for you, we just don't say have a good time after we book it for you. We are there every step of the way. We contact you before your trip to make sure everything's squared away. We even have a checklist to make sure that you have everything you need. Reservations, dining, all these different things. Your transportation, if you need help with that from the airport, any of those sort of things, we can help you with that too. We want to make the vacation the best it can be for you because I know that vacations aren't cheap and we can help you do that. So if you contact me, that's Lynn, and the email is lbarron@concierge.com. That's LBARRON @concierge.com. Or you can go to the sweepspot.com and there's a link on our front page there. You can click on that and there's information on how to contact me. But I'd love to talk to you and help you book the best vacation possible. Now we're going to have the current events. Ken, what do you have for us?
Oh, Lynn, there's just so much going on. Ever so much. It's such a busy time of year after all. I wanted to mention that, thanks to Russell, these stories do go in the current events portion of our website at thesweepspot.com. So you can click through and get the entirety of everything. But the first thing I wanted to bring up was the Beasts Library. And as Christy Weinberg had over at micechat.com, it was entitled Another One Bites the Dust, a fond farewell to Beasts Library. And it says here that tucked away in a corner of the animation building in Hollywoodland at California Adventure, DCA, some aren't even aware of it. But those who are find joy and comfort in its existence. Although they may forego a visit on a typical trip to the park, it's enough to know it's there. If you haven't already heard, Disney will soon be shutting the doors of this location. This is not the first time a beloved segment of the animation building has been nixed. Its closure follows the shutdown of Ursula's Grotto and the Toy Story 3D Zoetrope. Now the public is left wondering if more closures will follow. Since the news broke, fans have been heading to the Beasts Library in droves, lining up to get their last taste of the magic. My most recent memory of Beasts Library is a trip to the park earlier this year when it was raining.
Oh, yeah.
And I think I recounted that. It might have been in a bonus episode, my trip report to DCA, but it was raining, and the animation building is a good place to get out of the rain, but everybody else thinks the same thing, so it got very, very crowded. So we went down and we were sitting as far down in the Beasts Library as we could, until a cast member came by and said, you can't just sit in here because we have a capacity limit, so you gotta move on. Mm-hmm. So I was like, all right. So we went back up to the main atrium where, there really wasn't a place to be found at that point. It was just crowded with people. But yeah, so it's a nice little place, the Beast Library. I should have asked you what you thought of it before I went into my memory. What did you think about it, Lynn?
I think I've only been in there twice, and I thought it was good. I don't understand why they're getting rid of it unless they're putting...
They're moving. I think they're moving something in there.
Oh, I was going to say, are they retheming it to
like the blue sky, the stuff from the Blue Sky Cellar? I think they're moving in there, and then they're going to turn the Blue Sky Cellar into like
DVC.
Isn't I think going to turn into a Disney Vacation Club?
Yeah.
Thing. I think we covered this before. Go back. Listen to all of our episodes, and then you'll know these things better than we do. Yeah.
Well, that's too bad.
Things get shuffled around, Yeah. I'm sure they could always move the Beast bookstore, or the Beast Library, across the Esplanade over to the Disney Gallery or Disneyana or whatever they call it, that to me is an inferior replacement of both the Disneyana shop and the Disney Gallery that was above Pirates.
Mm-hmm.
But, I guess I'm just an old fuddy-duddy who's set in my ways.
Probably.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
All right. Well, moving on. This next one comes to us from Laughing Place from Tony Betty. And it's November 13, 2023. It titled Removed Play Elements Return to Mickey's Toontown at Disneyland Park. After disappearing in July, mere months after debuting as part of the newly reimagined Mickey's Toontown at Disneyland Park, specialty play equipment has returned to Goofy's How to Play yard. The equipment disappeared with no explanation or reason given shortly after the area opened, leaving the sprinkler-themed play features nowhere to be seen until recently at the park. The new playground-style equipment is themed to the Sprinkle Spring 5000, which is more like a spring-loaded seesaw, themed to oversized lawn sprinklers in Goofy's yard, and debuted with the newly reimagined Mickey's Toontown in March of this year. When you step inside Goofy's house, you'll find a fun interactive candy-making contraption that only Goofy could imagine. The confectionery contraption begins high outside of Goofy's home as drips of honey fall from a beehive onto a chute that slides the colorful drops around and down into the home. From there, junior candy makers will help Goofy make the candy, and the silly sounds of household appliances will combine to make a truly Goofy symphony.
Well, it's been Toontown will never be completed as long as there's imagination. Toontown just hasn't been completed since it reopened, so
they're still working on it. Someday it will be complete. It opened in March, but I felt like that was a rushed opening, and I have some speculation on that. But there's always competing competitors in the area that put out new attractions, and I think Disney and them also always try to put new things out at the same time. So, anyways, all right. Well, yeah, glad they're always improving, and they just didn't open it and think, well, it didn't work the way we wanted. Oh well.
let's just shut it down.
Right.
Yeah, it's the changes to Toontown were well received in general. So even if there's been some hiccups. All right. So Marshall Knight at laughingplace.com has the Great Maple at Pixar Place Hotel announces it's now open. And this was a story from November 15th. And as it says, Great Maple, the new restaurant at the Pixar Place Hotel at the Disneyland Resort, has announced a surprise opening date of right now. The California-based Modern American Eatery has announced that as of this posting, the new restaurant is open for business at the Pixar Place Hotel, which of course used to be the Paradise Pier Hotel, and before that it was Disney Pacific, and before that it was the Pan Pacific before it was owned by Disney, and it started out as the Emerald Hotel, but it's very close to Disneyland Hotel. It's just across the street from DCA, and so it's well located. The restaurant is serving up modern takes on American classics made from scratch daily. So, sounds good.
Yeah, and this one, you can make reservations for it. I noticed that on the app.
Lynn, if you book your vacation with Lynn, book your Disney vacation with Lynn, and you go to Disneyland, he can get you reservations for this place.
That's right.
Yeah.
It looks good. I've heard good things about it. So maybe someday I will try it.
All right.
All right, let's move on to the next thing. This is from the OC Register from Brady McDonald. It's titled Disneyland Tightens Pin Trading Rules to Rein in Pin Sanity. I like that. Pin trading displays are now permitted only in extremely limited designated trading area near Westward Ho Trading Company in Disneyland. Use of the Westward Ho pin trading area is restricted to specific times between park opening and 3 p.m. Pin traders are permitted to bring only one pin trading bag measuring 14 by 12 by 6 inches to the park and can't use lights or signs with prices on them. Pin traders are prohibited from using park benches to display their pins. Disneyland has begun providing high-top tables for pin traders to use near the Westward Ho Trading Company. Pins can't be traded for money, gifts, vouchers, or receipts. Visitors suspected of abusing the guidelines may be removed from the park, according to Disneyland website. Pin trading using lanyards is still permitted throughout the parks at any time. Disneyland employees can still trade pins using display stands at select retail locations throughout the parks. For years, pin traders have taken over the park benches near Frontierland entrance with large binders and bags filled with collectible pins. Collectors regularly camped overnight for limited edition pin release events at the theme park resort before Disneyland finally put a stop to the practice. In 2009, obsessed pin traders dressed in camouflage and hid in downtown Disney trash cans to become among the first to purchase new releases. Wow. That's dedication right there.
Well, so imagine you're cleaning out, you're sweeping,
right?
So you're going, you open up, and there they are, and there it's like, I wonder if they have any bribes handy to try to bribe you to say you didn't see nothing. Just
it's just interesting because it started out as something that was really fun. I mean, it's still fun, I guess, but it wasn't taken as seriously. And then more and more pins would come out, these limited editions and things, and they became like gold.
Yeah. So you're literally supposed to trade. They said no money, so you're not supposed to say, that one costs $20. Give me $20 for that one.
Meet me outside the park. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can just see the process.
Venmo me.
Oops, I dropped my $20 bill. Can you pick it up for me?
Yeah.
Oh my.
Well,
wow.
I know we make fun of it, but we try to make light of a lot of stuff. It's just this is entertainment. So they put a stop to this. So they can't really congregate anywhere in the park and bring, books and books. But I guess they'd have to get through security. I was going to say, what about I've heard on other podcasts they mentioned why can't they meet out, those the picnic area, there's like those tables out there and stuff, but
because that's supposed to be for picnics,
right.
So if they did it, they could do that, but then eventually if it becomes an issue, then Disney's gonna say, look, this is for people to eat food,
right?
So they could, if a hotel, I know you have that travel podcast, and you talked about Good Neighbor Hotels.
Right.
Well, I could imagine a hotel like on Harbor Boulevard saying, hey, we'll have a designated pin trading place for you here. Except that they don't want to get on Disney's bad side, right? So,
right.
But I could totally see that. Say, hey, you can come here and display your pins here and trade here. Just, and maybe they would say if they have like if they sell food at that hotel, if you're one of our customers, you can come here and, do your pin trading here, I could totally see that happening if it's not happening already, but,
right.
Obviously the most convenient place is in the parks. I mean, that's,
it just seems like and I don't know, because I haven't dealt with any of them, but They seem very serious about it, which is fine because I'm serious about my book collection. But if a little girl came up there, or boy, or whatever, and just came up and wanted to trade one of their little Mickey Mouse pins for something that maybe was worth a lot more than that.
Yeah, yeah.
I could see how that could be. They're always allowed to say no, but anyhow.
Yeah, well, it's like, I'm sorry, little girl, it's going to take about 10 of those to equal, this one pin or whatever. We did talk about this on our bonus episode for our Patreons. I mean, we talked about this and other issues where Disney's controlling their space, like with, there's, private tours that some people have been giving, where they come in with other guests and they give those guests a tour of the park, and Disney's cracked down on that, and just things like that where they're controlling their space, and people have, like I said, we talked about it in the bonus episode. So if you are a Patreon supporter to a certain extent, you will get that if you haven't gotten it already.
I'm always willing, if someone joins later and they heard that we talked about a certain topic, I could send you that one. Like if you were to join next month or something, you said, I really wanted to hear your discussion on the pin trading and other things at the park. I could send you that one,
Yeah.
I don't want to send a whole back catalog of all the bonus, but I could send you one if you knew there was a specific one that you wanted to hear.
Right. What service?
That's
right. What service you get from Lynn, folks. All right. Well, we should probably move on from that. All right. Well, some serious news here. This is from the Orange County Register. Brady McDonald reporting Disneyland lamppost falls and injures 3 visitors during high winds. So this was on the 20th of November. Due to high winds, a light pole blew over. Okay, let me edit this as I'm reading it. By light pole, they're talking about, it's not just it's not like a lamp. It's this whole structure, a large lighting structure.
Like show lights or something.
Yeah, show lights. It blew over on Main Street, USA just before 8:30 a.m. on Monday, November 20th, and injured a few guests, including one who was transported to the hospital. According to Disneyland officials, Anaheim Fire and Rescue transported one person with serious injuries to the hospital, and 2 other people were treated at the scene and released, according to Anaheim Fire spokesperson Sergeant John McClintock. Let's see. Emergency personnel transported an elderly woman by stretcher who was struck on the head by the lamppost, while another visitor sat on a park bench with a bandaged head. The lamppost in a flower bed around the Disney flagpole is used for stage lighting for parades and shows along Main Street, USA. The lamppost was removed just after 10 a.m. as Disneyland used Main Street, USA vehicles to block off the half of Town Square next to the Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln Opera House from pedestrian traffic. The park remained open, and visitors arriving and exiting were directed along the west side of Town Square, closest to the Disneyland City Hall. On Monday afternoon, Disneyland crews added tie-down cables to similar lampposts in Town Square and the Sleeping Beauty Castle hub to secure the poles in the high winds, because there was a high wind situation that day. There was, an advisory about it. In fact, there were problems elsewhere, like fallen trees and things like that, in nearby cities. So, that story was also covered by Laughing Place, and you can want to click through and read that. You can. That's very serious, especially in an older, getting hit in the head is serious. Yeah. And especially for an older person. It's never good to get hit in the head, but when you're an older person, that can really just set everything out of whack. And, it's kind of a joke, but I'm actually serious. How many free vacations is that family getting is my question, because in a situation like this where Disney, I mean, I'm assuming that it was the wind, right? I'm assuming it's nobody from their party that was climbing on it or pushing it or anything like that. And assuming it was just the wind, this person was doing absolutely nothing wrong. And when Disney knows that that this person got injured and they were doing nothing wrong to bring it on upon themselves, Disney is usually quick to say, look, whatever we can do for you, to take care of you and, make this right. They'll do that. If it's a situation where somebody's goofing off and they're causing problems, it's a different story. But when it's just an innocent person who just gets clobbered through no fault of their own, Disney's quick to take care of them.
They want to avoid a lawsuit too, but
sure. But they don't even let it get to that point. But
right. I mean, that's always the better case scenario. But the photos I saw showed the pole, at the base of it. There was really no cement around the pole in the ground. It looked like it could have been cement down in the bottom, but like it was just in the grass. But it also was very rusted, like it broke. And there's sprinklers. It's in the grass there, so there's obviously probably sprinklers, or it gets watered daily. So I imagine after years. So I imagine they're going to go up and down the whole parade route now and look at those poles, because they
could take a good look and secure everything.
And they did that. Yeah, they did that in other things that have happened.
We had on an episode, we did have somebody who was recently retired from corporate, who was a risk management person.
Oh, yeah.
This is exactly the kind of thing. Granted, the park's got risk management people, but something this big, where it makes the news like that, corporate takes notice too, and is because as he explained, a lot of the stuff they engineer it to be more than strong enough.
Right.
Like how strong does this need to be? Okay, well, let's double that, sort of thing, just to be safe. But
things happen or get overlooked.
Yeah. I'm going to also handle the next story, which is one of those comes with a listener discretion advised. It's a very sad incident, but we don't shy away from doing these stories because we want to cover what's actually happening at the resort. And again, it's a Brady McDonald story. And so again, listener discretion is advised. Man jumps to his death at Disneyland parking garage. Third incident in less than a year. A man who jumped to his death from the Pixar Pals parking structure marks the third suicide in less than a year at the Disneyland Garage complex, where thousands of visitors enter and exit the Anaheim theme park resort every day. Anaheim police responded to a call around 9:30 p.m. on Wednesday, November 15th at 1100 West Magic Way, and that's pretty much that's where the Pixar Pals structure is, of someone jumping from the Pixar Pals parking structure at the Disneyland Resort. The Orange County Coroner's Office identified the man as Jonah Alexander Edwards, age 24. Too young, way too young. There have been 6 suicides since 2010 at the Disneyland parking garages and 3 since December 2022. Marnie Schoenfield, 46, of Scottsdale, Arizona, died in February after she jumped or fell from a Disneyland parking structure. Christopher Christensen, a Huntington Beach elementary school principal facing misdemeanor child endangerment and battery charges, jumped to his death from the Disneyland parking structure in December. And this is the important part, how they finish the story here, that something I'm going to reiterate. If you or someone you know is experiencing suicidal thoughts, contact the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline by calling or texting 988 on your phone, or by visiting 988lifeline.org. Again, that's 988, very similar to 911, but call 988 if you are having those kinds of thoughts, because we really, really don't want to be speaking about you the way we're speaking about these people. And I know people get upset and they say, how dare they do this someplace but they're not. They're really, if they were in their right minds, they wouldn't be doing this at all, let alone at the Disneyland Resort. So what do you have to add, Lynn?
I don't. It's unfortunate.
Yes, I mean we've known people, and it's just never. I ache for the people left behind, and so yes, folks, if you or someone you know needs it, 988 is an easy number to remember. So let's hope this never happens again. I'm not sure Disney can entirely prevent it, no matter what kind of. There's lots of considerations. Anything you add has to be engineered, and it's not just a matter of aesthetics, but if you're going to add something, it's got to be engineered so it doesn't cause more harm than the good it does.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like, oh geez, there's been multiple incidents like this, but you also have to remember there's thousands and thousands of people going through that structure every day. So it's really not that high of a number overall.
I mean, one is always too many, but I know what you mean. All right. Well, we'll move to the next thing. This is from Photo Matt. November 15, 2023. Breaking news. This is at Mice Chat. Breaking news. Magic Key settlement emails hit inboxes. If you held a Dream Key when Disney resumed selling Magic Key annual passes, you may have received an email notifying you about a class action settlement. Although the notice did not provide specific dates, it does include information about available options and links to update your personal address. Yeah, so we've been kind of following this, and we've reported, when they did come up with a settlement amount per person, and there's been other podcasts that have done the math and said, well, I think it's like $67 each or something, and they did the math and figured out how many people that affected, but also you have to include lawyer fees and all that, but it ended up being around 100,000 or something people, but that's it's something we've been following, and obviously Disney's going to be very careful the way they word things in the future. I mean, they usually are.
But, they already are. Now they've got to be even more careful.
Well, I think the reservation system is what changed things, that they maybe didn't consider that, people that had the higher tier before the closures didn't have dates that they couldn't go, according to the pass to the higher pass. So when the reservations came in, if they couldn't get a reservation, then they couldn't make it into the park, and so that's where the problem was. So
well, they did have, if you did those old annual passes that were the ones that were every day, and you didn't read reservations, if you showed up when the park was at capacity, the gates were closed. I mean, they weren't letting people in, even if you were a top of the line annual pass holder.
Rare, but it did happen.
It was rare, but you had to wait until some people came out of the park. Enough people came out of the park, they would start letting people in again. There used to be, because they would sell, most people bought their tickets there. If they didn't get them as part of a travel package, back then most people got their tickets there at the ticket booths. And what the first level of that is, they would just simply stop selling tickets.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had an annual pass or you already had tickets or whatever, you could still get in. Then if as the crowds got even higher, they would just stop admitting people to the parks. And so that's kind of the equivalent, where it's like, well, yeah, your pass is good every day of the year as long as we're admitting people. But when you have a reservation system, it's like, we've only got so many reservations available. But I can totally see the side of the customer saying, look, you said this is, no blockout dates or whatever, and right. I'm blocked out.
And they're not cheap, And
no, they're not cheap. There's, for some people, that's their recreation and entertainment budget for the year.
Right.
They say we're going to buy these top of the line passes. We're just going to go to Disneyland a lot.
Mm-hmm. That's something they do. Yeah. But I don't know what the specifics were when they would do closures. I remember it happened a few times when we worked there. It was mostly between Christmas and New Year's. But
right.
When all the Rose Parade.
Yeah, the Rose Bowl and Rose Parade people. Yeah.
Yeah. But so I don't know how that worked and who they turned turned away or not. But I would imagine that's I guess one good thing about the reservations is they're not gonna have more reservations than they would allow in the park at one time. I would imagine. Right. So at least you're guaranteed, for the most part, you're guaranteed your spot in the park, regardless of what time you show up. Yeah.
Yeah, good point. That you're not going to be fenced out of the park. Yeah. Huh.
Right.
All right. Hey, I remember my service anniversaries when I was a cast member,
mm-hmm.
and they did it again. We got a report from Doobie at Laughing Place. Disney honors their own at the Disney West Coast Service Celebration. Each year, Disney celebrates its long-serving cast members, acknowledging those with tenures in multiples of 5 years, starting from the 10th year. The most recent event, the Disney Experiences West Coast Service Celebration, took place on November 13th at DCA. And so, some people go, why is DCA closing early today? And that particular day, that was why. This exclusive event honored Disneyland Resort, Imagineering, and other Disney parks, experiences, and product staff. For this special occasion, DCA closed early and underwent transformations to enhance the celebratory atmosphere. While I had heard about these service celebrations from friends, this year I had the unique opportunity to attend thanks to an invitation from Disney. I was able to witness the festivities firsthand and talk to some of the over 2,500 dedicated individuals honored on this night. The event's most esteemed guests were those celebrating 40 years or more with Disney. They were allowed to enter the party first, walking from the Grand Californian Hotel to Carthay Circle to the cheers of other cast members. The evening for these veterans included cocktails, a speech by Disneyland Resort President Ken Potrock, and an exclusive dinner at Carthay Circle. They were also honored by having their faces projected onto Carthay Circle Theater. And later in this piece, Doobie says, most of DCA's rides were open, allowing the honorees and their guests to ride with minimal lines. Several of the DCA dining locations were also open and serving dishes at no charge, with several of the marketplace locations available as well. There were also dessert stations throughout the park and several bars, again, all at no charge. There was no shortage of entertainment either. Characters were out in full force, including at Avengers Campus. There were also several specialty photo spots and lots of live entertainment throughout the park. And one of the things I liked about Doobie's coverage, because he has some videos And one of them is an interview with a 35-year cast member, John Van Winkle.
Hey.
And he talks about starting in custodial. And so John says it was the best job ever working custodial. He's not in custodial anymore. He does, more behind the scenes stuff for cast members and things like that. But it was good to see him interviewed. I told Doobie he should ask John if a turtleneck sweater is what really makes the custodial uniform complete. But if he did ask John, he didn't include it in the video too, because I think it was too much. It was too inside baseball. But John was noted for wearing turtlenecks when he was amongst the Brothers of the Broom. Yeah. So that was nice. Do you remember service anniversaries, Lynn?
I do. Yeah, I remember my 5-year. I missed the 10-year.
Oh boy!
By 1 year. Yeah.
That's true. That's true because your time at Disney was broken up into two stints. Our 5-year was at Aladdin's Oasis. Mm-hmm. I can remember that. It was a luncheon at Aladdin's Oasis. 10-year was at the Grand Ballroom at the Disneyland Hotel. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was for 10 years and more. But that's what I went to, was my 10-year there. So that was, now of course they do have DCA, and they make it for more than just resort cast members. Wow. So that's good. I mean, I know it's inconvenient to guests who wish DCA had longer hours that day, but they try to do it on a day where it's not, not busy. Too busy, Mm-hmm. So yeah.
I think most people understand when they find out that it's for the cast members.
Yeah, and it's good. It's good to make your cast feel like they are appreciated, mm-hmm. Celebrating their long time there.
Not a lot of companies do that. The school district doesn't. I know that. So
wow,
that's good. That Disney still does that.
All right. Well, as usual, MiceChat.com has Disneyland updates. There was one from November 13th called Exciting Openings, Maintenance Concerns, Holiday Crush, and Pin Rules. And that was from Mike Kendrick. And it starts out with, the holiday season has officially begun at the Disneyland Resort. While many of the offerings remain the same, there are a few new additions to see this year, including a beautiful love letter to Walt Disney, the new Adventureland Treehouse. There's also a new mid-century style stage in downtown Disney that's worth checking out. Plus, we have interesting news from the Jungle Cruise, that is, a look at Toontown's continuing struggles, and lots of beautiful photos and videos. Yeah, my channel, they load these updates up with a lot of great photos and videos. So definitely, that's a good way to keep tabs on what's happening. The other update was from November 20th, and it was So Far Left to Go, Iger's Year, Iconic Birthdays, and Holiday Shifts. And it starts out saying, it's been 1 year since Bob Iger returned to Disney and began the process of fixing all the things Bob Chapek broke. How do you really feel? And while there have been many changes, big and small, things still feel different in the Disney parks, including Disneyland. In this Disneyland update before Thanksgiving, we'll take a look at current park conditions and projects. There's some hopeful news this week and some head scratchers. We also ask for your thoughts on what would make the park experience more joyful again. So if you want those updates, click through at thesweepspot.com and you can be linked to all of those stories. Is there any refurb information, Lynn?
There is some. Not as many as we've had in the past, but there are some. So here we go. This is as far out as the calendar will take us, which is about the first week in January. And first thing we've talked about in the past already is the Mark Twain Riverboat is still down and no return date.
Uh-oh.
The Astro Orbiter goes down for refurb November 27th and no return date. Indiana Jones Adventure down November 27th and will return December 1st. And the Incredicoaster November 27th and will return December 2nd. That's all we have.
All right. Huh.
It's that time of year where they don't want to close too many things that they don't have to, try to avoid that if they can, because the parks will be very busy the last week in December.
Yes.
That's 2 weeks probably.
This whole season's going to be busy, but of course the very ending of the year, the switch over to New Year's, is busy, traditionally the busiest time. And most of the passes are the magic keys, and even the cast member access is blocked out because just so many people from all over the world want to be there. And it is the holiday season, so we are. It ends up kind of changing our recording schedule a little bit. We've still got a couple of more things to release this year. So, if you have subscribed to us, like at Apple Podcasts, you will get our episodes when they come out. We traditionally take, a little time off at the second half of December. It's a good time to catch up on any episodes you missed or want to go back and listen to again. But we do have a little bit more new content to go this year. We're not done yet, but we did want to just wish you guys a happy holiday season. Hopefully you Americans are having a good Thanksgiving weekend, and that it's a good time and not stressful. It's pleasant and not stressful. We really appreciate, I know I'm thankful for the listeners. I'm thankful for all the people who've been buying our books the last few weeks. And just, our Patreon supporters, and I'm thankful for
I'm thankful for you, Ken.
I'm thankful for you, Lynn. I was just getting to that. I was going to say, Lynn does all the technical work on the podcast. So, he's responsible for all of that. And he usually does the scheduling of who's going to be on with us too. So,
yeah, but you prepare all the current event stories.
That's true.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, I enjoy it. It keeps me updated on what's happening, and I like being part of this program. It's a high quality program, Lynn, because of your continuing efforts to make it high quality. So I appreciate that.
Well, thank you. It's a lot of fun. We've been doing this a long time. I think I started it. It's been over 12 years now. So,
wow.
Yeah, we're still going.
What persistence. So thank you, everybody. Spread the word. Tell people how they can find us. We're pretty easy to find. If you just do a search on the sweep spot at your favorite place to listen to podcasts, you can probably find us. We're on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, all over the place. We have our free archive that you can go to directly. It's one of the top results when you do a search on the sweep spot. And I really appreciate all you guys. Let us know. Leave a review on the podcast, especially at Apple, Apple or iTunes. Or, just leave a review on the podcast. It helps people find us. But you can also, tell your friends, your families, your enemies where to find us.
That's right. That's the only gift I want this year is reviews.
All I want for Christmas is reviews. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for listening, and we'll talk with you next time.